Hello, greetings to June and to Kristen and to Rick. Thank you very much. I'm Brian Rademacher, and we are right at 5 o'clock. We might wait another minute or two to see if we have any other attendees that join us. And I think we just got one here. Kristen, Rick, and then I mentioned that, and then Sona. Hello, Sona. And you also see Lori McDonald. Hey, Lori, how you doing?
Nice to see everybody. Thank you so much for coming out tonight. Those of you that know me know how much I love river cruising, and I am so excited to share river cruising with you and to introduce you to Brian, who is coming live from his home office in Northern California. And this is the first of 4 webinars that we'll be hosting over the next couple weeks to really introduce you all about river cruising. Tonight is all about river cruising, and then the next couple of sessions that we'll be hosting will dive deep into different types of river cruising. So Brian will talk a little bit about that more.
Absolutely.
But thank you all for joining.
Thanks, Lori. Yeah, it's interesting. Back when we, as a company, AmaWaterways, started doing these webinars, and we're kind of early in the game, as it were, amongst companies doing webinars, consumer webinars in particular. And now we've done, or will do, over 1,500 in the last 5 months. Yeah, initially it was just show us some nice pictures and let us dream about travel again. And it's evolved to where now the latest iteration that Lori is, we're gracious and grateful, I should say, and very graciously, she is doing a series of webinars. So kind of this one today is the overall view kind of thing, and then we're going to do some deep dives. So that's how it's evolved. And now it's evolved to where we actually have some offers to make you for attending. People have reached a point where, yeah, they weren't even thinking about traveling. Now, there's studies that say once you put the trip on your calendar, the psychological impact that has of lifting your spirits. And I can speak just from taking a trip up to Tahoe about 3 weeks ago. You would have thought I was in Greece or something. I mean, it was, just looking forward to it, going, actually being up there and realizing, man, that is part of the fun of travel, is looking forward to the trip. And so anyway, we'll have some offers for you later in the webinar. So I think what I'll do is a little housekeeping. So yes, I'm Brian Rademacher. I am coming to you from up in Petaluma, actually in Sonoma County, where the air is clean and the fires have abated. And we're very grateful for the firefighters and Mother Nature for giving us a break. And I cover Northern California and Northern Nevada for AmaWaterways as the sales guy. And I work very closely with Lori because you know what? We rely on folks like Lori because we do very little advertising, almost none. So 97% of our business comes through the traditional travel agency channel. So I work very closely with Lori, and this is, again, the world that we're living in, the realm of armchair travel right now and doing webinars. So that's a little bit about me. I will tell you there's a question box there. I'll point my cursor at it. It's lower down. You can either type your questions in as you think of them, and then I'll come back at the end and answer them as best I can. Or you can wait to pose the questions when we're towards the end. That's fine too. And then what I do is I will pull myself off camera. I'm going to stop sharing the camera because, frankly, I'm looking at myself as I present. It's like I'm standing in front of a mirror right now. You would not, it's always a little odd to be talking and looking at yourself talking. So I don't like that. So the other thing is like, who is that guy? Oh, that's me after 5 months housebound in a pandemic. I look different and all, but nonetheless, so I'm going to go off camera and I'll just talk. You'll hear my voice, but then you get to see the nice pictures. So that's the MO for today. And so without further ado, I think I always have to make sure I click the right button because twice in the last 5 months I've clicked and it ended the webinar. So you don't want to do that. So you just want to click the button where I come off the camera so people can see you, turn off your webcam. That's the button. So I'll say bye for now. Okay. And we're all still here. I did it right. Yay. And then I'll say, because we had some new folks join us, so I'm going to say hi again to June, to Kristen, to Rick, and to Shelly and Sona. All right. And then the others that register that are not here, they're going to get the webinar video link from Lori tomorrow. Okay, so here we go. Let's jump in. So yes, seeing the world one river at a time. That's sort of the look today that we're going to have. Because obviously we are a river cruise line, and as mentioned, with cruise planners being a part of American Express Travel and the clout that that certainly brings to the table, we're very happy to partner with them, and specifically certainly with Lori, because she knows what she's doing and been on several AmaWaterways cruises, and so she is very adept at selling our product. So there's me when I actually wore a suit, and I don't remember the last time I had a suit on, but that's quite a while ago, because these days I'm in mostly in yes, like golf shirts and shorts for the most part. And Lori, of course, joining us. Nice picture there. And then we, again, thank you in all these various languages. We're so appreciative of you taking time out to do this little armchair travel with us. And then as Lori mentioned, and as I alluded to as well, we do have these upcoming webinars. You can maybe do a screen print of this. If you want to mark these on your calendar, save this image. I'll put it up again later on. And so on September 16, so another, what, 11, 12 days, something like that. I always forget what day it is. I told Lori it's like Groundhog Day, right, every day. But September 16, we're going to delve into the rivers of France as well as Portugal, both really wonderful places to river cruise. Then we're going to have a special guest presenter on September 29. Her name is Liz Barrett. She is our wine cruise guru lady based in Southern California, where we're based. The company is in Calabasas headquarters. Anyway, we do these guest winemaker cruises that are incredibly well received, very popular. So she's going to come and present along with me on these quote unquote celebration of wine cruises that are, as I say, quite popular. As you think about Europe, pretty much everywhere we go on the rivers in Europe, except for Holland and Belgium, which is more beer country, then we're cruising in wine country, right? Then on October 14th, really unique, exotic opportunity with Todd Ney, another guest presenter. He's our product manager for Africa, which is inclusive of the Nile River and the Chobe River. And you might say, where the heck's the Chobe? Because I had to look it up. The Chobe River feeds into the Zambezi River between Namibia and Botswana, right? And so we have this beautiful 28 guest ship called the Zambezi Queen. So Todd's going to talk about that. But he's also going to talk about a new product for us, which is the Nile, and a new ship we're building, the Amadalia, which only carries 68 guests. And that product starts about a year from now, September of 2021. And quite frankly, it's our hottest booking product at the moment is Egypt. It's selling like crazy. And then all the times will be from 5 to 6 p.m., just like today, right? So those are the 3 upcoming webinars. Now, this particular image we use a lot because we think it is pretty descriptive, and the picture is quite beautiful. Obviously, that's in the fall. You can see the beautiful fall colors there on the Rhine River. But oceans take you to countries and rivers take you through them, right? And that is absolutely the case. River cruising pre-COVID was one of the hottest things in travel. And quite frankly, we are very confident, as are the folks that study the travel industry, the talking heads, if you will, that river cruising is going to remain very popular. And we'll get into the reasons why that is, but this is part of it. Because you are on these beautiful rivers, calling on these wonderful towns and villages and cities that emanated, right, from the rivers. They grew up from the rivers, and actually in terms of trading with each other and doing commerce with each other, that all happened along the river, because the rivers were the roads of old. And quite frankly, they're still like roads. Nowadays, though, you come on these beautiful river ships that take you from place to place, and it's just a wonderful, wonderful way to experience any country. And of course, we're primarily in Europe, but we obviously go other places as well. So we do like that saying. We do talk about that. Now, I happen to find this quote from one of the Monty Python alumni, Michael Palin. And this is the kind of bug we all either have or want to have, unlike the bug that's out there now, which is the travel bug, right? I know I've been bitten, certainly, but once the travel bug bites, there is no known antidote, and I know that I shall be happily infected until the end of my life. And let's face it, that's why we love travel, because it gets into you, right? I mean, you get that travel bug and you have the bucket list of places you want to see and visit, etc. And so I just found that quote kind of right on the money, and particularly a little bit juxtaposing with the bug that's out there now with this bug that we all certainly are infected with or will be, let's say. So these are our owners, and we are family owned. And that's a really, really good thing for a number of reasons. One, the passionate stance that the owners take. And we're only a river cruise company. We don't have a motor coach division. We don't have an ocean cruise division. We're strictly a river cruise company. We started July 1 of 2002. We celebrated our 18th anniversary, so in July here a few months ago. So Austrian, German, and Irish in terms of the owner's heritage. Rudy Schreiner to the left is the acknowledged godfather of North American river cruising, essentially both recognized officially and anecdotally. He is the man that put river cruising on the map in North America, because when the Rhine-Main-Danube Canal opened up, he was the one that convinced companies to start doing river cruising, and then decided to start his own. That is us. He was the first president of Viking when Viking got started. Tor Hagen, the owner, picked him to get Viking going, so that's a compliment for sure. He comes from Vienna on the Danube River. And then his wife, who he met actually at Viking, where she worked as well, Christine Karst, she was raised outside of Dresden in East Germany, then East Germany. He likes to say, I build them, because he loves to design and build the ships, and she fills them. She's sort of the heart and soul of the company, the face of the company, and quite wonderful. And then Gary Murphy is our executive VP of sales, and his dad, Jimmy, started Brendan Tours and passed away, unfortunately, about 4 years ago. But certainly Gary carries on his dad's legacy, and he too is just a wonderful gentleman. So they are the ones that run the show, and very, very down-to-earth, wonderful people that don't have an ounce of ego in them, just the nicest folks you could ever meet. So this is where we go. You certainly recognize, obviously, the map of Europe there, and then Egypt, Asia, as far as the Mekong, because we are on the Mekong River in Vietnam and Cambodia. And then I mentioned Africa earlier. And so it's 14 rivers and waterways. Belgium and Netherlands have waterways. They're not really rivers. Then we go to 23 countries with 33 different itineraries. So when, I'll put the cursor here, when this Rhine-Main-Danube Canal opened, which is in this vicinity here, you could get on a ship up in Amsterdam and not get off the ship until you reach the Black Sea, right? So that Rhine-Main-Danube Canal opened up in 1992, and that's really what got Rudy to convince North American companies to start promoting river cruising, and it definitely worked. And so river cruising, as I say, very, very wonderful way to vacation, and extremely popular, again, pre-COVID, and will be, as I say, post-COVID as well. That stretch, by the way, is almost 2,200 miles. I don't know if I said that, but that's the length in terms of going all the way from Amsterdam to the Black Sea, which took this 106-mile canal opening to have that be possible. So in terms of why river cruises are such a wonderful value, all of these things are definitely reasons why. The immersive nature. So we say that, you know what, we're going to immerse you in the local culture, which we do. River cruising is much more inclusive from a pricing standpoint, very little out of pocket. And people like that. People like sort of not being nickel and dimed, quite frankly. The intimacy factor because of smaller ships. That now is going to be tremendously in vogue. It was in vogue prior. It is in vogue again now. The personal attention from a wonderful staff, no crowds or long lines, so it's very convenient and easy. You always have a river view. You're always in the center of town, so there's no schlepping to get to places. You don't have to dress up. You can dress up a little bit if you'd like, but no formal wear whatsoever. And then you have to look out the window to see if the ship is actually moving. So there's no motion discomfort whatsoever on a river cruise. Now, more specifically, as it relates to why us, and again, these are all important features of what we bring to the table. We've talked about the family owned and operated, The fleet, very innovative. We'll talk more about that. The food, the crew, the excursions are all included. And once again, we've always practiced social distancing because our shore excursions are always done in much smaller groups, usually not more than about 20 people. And again, people find that attractive. Now, this next two are ones we frankly hadn't talked about before, but we do now, which is the highest level of hygiene and cleanliness. That is absolutely something we've always practiced, but now we talk about it more. And then the financial stability of the company, because you hear family owned, we're not publicly traded. You wonder, how are the family finances? Are you going to be around? Well, the simple answer, short answer is we are incredibly financially stable. We'll talk about that. Then we offer these wonderful twin balcony accommodations. North Americans, especially if they've been on an ocean cruise with a balcony, they like the balcony experience, the quote fresh air experience. Now, once again, we're finding people that are booking for next year and for 2022 that the balconies are big sellers. And we think part of that, again, is because of this idea of fresh air, right? The chef's table we'll talk about. The wellness hosts, we'll also talk about that. The onboard entertainment, which is not big and over-the-top production shows. It's more quaint local entertainment, which is endemic to the area. And then we have wonderful Wi-Fi and our own app, the My AmaCruise app. The other cool thing for us anyway, as far as a reason to come and be with us, is the sustainable travel aspect of our product. Now, this Green Award, which frankly is the most sort of unimaginative name for an ecological award you can come up with, the Green Award, but it's very prestigious. And the middle paragraph there goes into a number of the reasons why we were honored with the Green Award for sustainability. Though this is a big deal, you see the herb garden there on the Alma Magna, but winning this is because we set out to be a good neighbor to Mother Earth. Here's the thing we just found out though within the last few weeks, and that is the country of the Netherlands, they are going to give the most prime parking places for river ships that have the highest sustainable travel scores. Bingo, that would be us. So we're going to get parking spaces in the Netherlands in places like, of course, Amsterdam and Rotterdam and Delft and other places. We'll get prime parking places because what? We are Green Award winners. So the countries, and hopefully more countries besides the Netherlands, will follow in their footsteps. And we're very happy about that. That was a surprise to us, but again, a nice surprise. So you might say, what's happening now? Well, we are suspended through the end of October. We say suspended because, quite frankly, our owners hope, knock wood, and they may be, who knows, overly optimistic, but I like their optimism. We're ready to go. We are ready to go if and when Americans are allowed to go back to Europe, and then we will operate. So we're only suspended through the end of October, where some of our sister companies in the industry have pulled the plug on the rest of the year. We are still hopeful. We're talking about financing here. The last little sentence there on the bottom left, I can sleep at night. That's Rudy talking, and why he can sleep at night, no debt. The company has zero debt. All of the ships are paid for, so that's a lot of equity, and we don't owe any creditors. So financially, we're in a very secure position, extremely secure position. So that's a good thing to know. We're not in a precarious position. We've already opened the books for 2022, and we're close to 20% booked already for 2022. We would normally open the 2022 books in October, but we opened them about 3 months ago, and people are booking for 2022. And then there's this. This is something to be aware of. It's called Travel Waiver Plus. You should always have travel insurance. That's an absolute no-brainer. Always have travel insurance. This is an added element wherein you can get a waiver such that, and by the way, you can cancel, as it says there, for any reason, whatever reason, up to 24 hours prior to the start of your trip. And you can purchase this up to 48 hours prior to the start of your trip, right? And then it allows the amount that you would have been penalized for canceling, a penalty amount, and it gives it back to you in the form of what's called an FCC, a future cruise credit, that's good for 2 years, right? And it doesn't have to be purchased with our own insurance plan. If you have something that Lori recommends or who you like to use or whatever, feel free to buy that insurance and add this for that peace of mind. And this is selling quite well. To be very candid, people are taking advantage of this for good reason, because it gives you, again, that added peace of mind. I want to mention this as a good news story. So we are giving cruises away next year to frontline heroes, just as a gesture of our appreciation for folks that have worked so hard during the pandemic. And obviously you think of doctors and nurses first and foremost, but there are EMTs, there are pharmacists, etc. Anyway, we are giving those folks a complimentary cruise next year when they cruise along with a regular guest in their accommodation. You can go with help, certainly from Lori. You can go to amawaterways.com/hero, and you can put in for your future cruise certificate. So whether you're a frontline hero or you know somebody, maybe a relative or a friend who is, then this might be something to present to them. We have had close to 8,000 folks go on and register to get their future cruise certificate, where they can cruise free with us next year through the end of 2021. So this is something that's been, again, a very good news story, and you should be aware of. A couple of companies that work with us that you should be aware of also, Disney. Now, they have beautiful ocean ships, right? They don't have river ships, but they know full well, they're very smart, that they need to have a river cruise product in to sell, and they sell through Adventures by Disney. And they mystery shopped several years ago, about 4 years ago, they mystery shopped all the North American cruise brands, and lo and behold, they chose us, right? That's nice, because they're pretty persnickety about with whom they hook their wagon and with whom they choose to do business. And so now they charter up to 30 times a year from us. What's interesting, you think, oh, it must be kids and extended families, and there is that, but of the 30 charters, 10 are adults only, which is interesting. So anyway, I present this just as these are folks who have chosen to come with us, and they're pretty prestigious. Backroads is a Berkeley-based company. They've been around a long time. Their bailiwick is adventure, where you go active. And so they started small with us in terms of small biking groups that would do our river cruises and use our river ships as their base camp, if you will, for doing biking along the rivers, etc. Now they charter from us as well. It's become so popular. So I just mentioned these as third-party endorsements. So that's our fleet. You can see we came out with 3 new ships last year, and we have 3 new ships coming next year. So fortuitous, I guess, that we don't have any new ships this year, but we do have 3 coming next year, and those are still coming. We haven't delayed those. They're full on and going to show up on time, etc. Now, we say a young, modern, innovative fleet. Young in the sense that the median age is about 3 years old. Half the ship's younger, half the ship's older than that, and that's young. Modern and innovative. Innovative in the sense you're going to see more about the ship called the Ama Magna, but also innovative in the sense that we are the lowest draft, lightest weight ships on the river. And you might say, well, why is that important? Well, like the ocean, we're all subject to the whims of Mother Nature. And rivers can have high water or low water. Now, it happens less than 5% a year at first, as far as cruises that are impacted. But if you're on that cruise, it's nice to know that our ships can operate in as low as 4 to 6 feet of water, where our competitors are more in the 8 to 12 foot range. And you say, well, that's not much of a difference. Well, I can tell you folks, when it's a matter of inches, that is a big difference when there's sometimes low waters, which again occur occasionally. So that's nice to present. So we are coming out with these 2 new ships next year, the Ama Siena and the Ama Lucia, which are sister vessels, and they're known as the twin balcony accommodation ships because, again, of the predominant category on board being those cabins with the twin balconies, which I'll show you here momentarily. So these carry around 150, 160 guests thereabout. And then we're coming out with a ship in Egypt. As I said earlier, 68 guests. So this is artist rendering as it's being built now. That is the Ama Dahlia, right? And she'll operate 7 nights on the Nile, and that starts a year from now. But right now in Europe, and elsewhere, but certainly in Europe, the rivers are continuing to flow. And we're going to talk about the fact that we are cruising right now. And you might say, well, I thought you just said you were suspended. Well, I'm going to tell you another story. The word ama, by the way, comes from the Latin word amare, which means to love, right? So we like to say we love what we do. We love our guests. We love our crew. It's a love fest, if you will, all the way around. And I can tell you that people come back to AmaWaterways time and time again to cruise with us, and it's because of the software. It's not because of the hardware. The hardware is nice, but it's the software, and it's this whole AmaWaterways means love. So we are cruising right now. So I was a little speaking where I said we're suspended. Well, guess what? Because Rudy is Austrian and his wife is German, they being European have contacts, and so we have the Ama Christina right now has been sailing since July 5. So in a couple days, she will have been sailing for 2 months on the Rhine River via a German tour operator called Ehoy, and they are chartering our vessel. So it's our crew, our ship, our food, et cetera, and we're cruising now, and these are some of the staff on board, the captain right there, the cruise manager to his, or to, as we're looking at it, to the left. Anyway, the deal is that they chartered the ship for several months, that is the German tour operator, and we're cruising for them, for the European market. There are 58 river ships cruising the rivers of Europe right now. Only one, the Ama Christina, our ship, is North American-based company. The other 57 ships are French, German, Swiss, Portuguese, and British. Those are the companies that are operating. And then this is, in terms of the protocols that are being employed right now, it's important for us in the sense that here we are, we've been cruising now for almost 2 months. So we are in the game, as it were. We're not on the sidelines having to hear anecdotally, how is it working for river ships in Europe? We are actually participating. So the education we're gaining is invaluable. So you can go to amawaterways.com/travel-updates if you want to see more of this cashed out as far as what all that we're doing, right? But the key thing is that we're actually doing it. Whereas our sister companies here in the United States have pulled the plug, you know, for the rest of the year, but at least we have one ship operating, so we're getting the hang, as it were, of, and these are all rules set by the Europeans, of course, and then we do extra things as well. So anyway, it's all a good story there. So that board is in German, it's in English, and it's in Dutch as well. So we're sailing with mostly Germans, but also we get Dutch, Belgians, and Swiss on board, and you can see some of the protocols as far as the hand sanitizers, the plexiglass, the face masks, all things that we're certainly familiar with here in this country, we're doing on the ship. And then we can't carry more than 100 guests, and we've been averaging in about the 80 range. So the ship carries, again, around 150, 160, so the ship is, let's put it positively or optimistically, the ship is half full, right? And we have some cruises now upcoming where there will be 100 guests on board. You can see here in the lounge area with the plexiglass. So it's all good in the sense that we're learning as we go. And so I just thought I'd show you some of the pictures from the initial cruises. We've heard anecdotally that there's some guests now that they will be doing 3 of these. There's a couple of guests that have liked it so much, they came early. They're going to go again, and they're going to go again. So that's, of course, anomalous. Not many people doing that, but it is being well received. And knock wood, of the 58 river ships cruising in Europe, we've been very fortunate in that we haven't had any issues with COVID, right? So that's a good thing. So this, obviously, we talk about our ships being sort of like luxurious floating hotels, and they really are, to maximize your enjoyment and comfort. But it comes back to the people, the family, love, enthusiasm, passion. We say all of that, the fleps, if you will, all of that is done with a sparkle. And so the people who work on board are simply wonderful. The other nice thing about a river cruise is we say every day is a sea day rather than a sea day, euphemistically here. And that's true because, once again, we're operating on a river where there's always something to see, S-C-E, versus being out at sea in international waters. We're always within a given country's boundaries, right? So we're a stone's throw away from land. We're not in international waters. Again, we're operating within a given country's boundaries, right? So that's this whole notion of being immersed in a country, and again, so close to things that are right nearby. The cruise manager who work on our ships, they're fantastic. It's unbelievably hard to get a position as a cruise manager with AmaWaterways. They told us the story at our meeting back in January, the number of applications and ultimately the number of people that we hire. I think it's easier to get into Stanford, actually. It's unbelievable. We're very picky and choosy, but they are wonderful at what they do. They're the circus masters, if you will, on board. Plus, they're with you when it says every step of the way. That means that many of our guests book pre and post hotel stays. And we offer a wonderful variety of pre and post hotels all 4- and 5-star properties, very nice. But the cruise manager is with you at the hotel, which is great because it's like your own concierge that's an AmaWaterways person. And we always operate the hotel program, even if there's less people prescribed or subscribed to go. So it's a wonderful thing as far as getting to know your cruise manager ahead of the cruise and going with them after the cruise if you're doing a post cruise. And again, there is that wonderful crew who you will fall in love with. And now we talk about those twin balcony accommodations. They're from 210 to 235 square feet. To the right, that's the French balcony, right? And that's just a sliding glass door with a rail. But that allows you to, if it's inclement weather, you don't have to go out on the traditional balcony, which is to the left, which has a table and a couple of chairs, which, by the way, another thing we're doing, we've beefed up our room service options. Because again, people are saying, you know what, in light of things as the way they are, we're going to dine in our stateroom tonight. So the room service menu has been accentuated. It wasn't that, how should I say, robust before, and now we're doing more along those lines. And again, that's part and parcel of the new environment that we're in. To the right on the credenza there, that is an Apple computer, which is your self-contained infotainment system. And the keyboard is portable, so you can sit in the chairs or on the bed with the keyboard. Obviously, it's your internet, but it's movies and music and news and just everything you have at your fingertips with the Apple computer in your cabins, and every cabin has one. We also have connecting cabins and triple and quad cabins. This is partly because of Disney. You know, Disney wants and charters our newest ships, the ships that have come out, say, over the last 4 years since we've been doing business with them. And for obvious reasons, they said, when you build your new ships, can you please make triples and quads, meaning, again, 3 and 4 cabin accommodations, and also connecting. And that's so when they do their charters, they have the families that like these kinds of things. Now, you don't have to be on a Disney charter to take advantage of them as well. And we do take kids as low as 4 years old. So we do get a lot of extended families, multi-generational folks that are traveling, particularly in the summer, say, or even at Christmas markets, et cetera. And this is a very popular thing. And then this just gives you an idea, if you will, of sort of the living room of the vessel, which is the panoramic lounge. You do spend quite a bit of time here because every night there's a cocktail party here before dinner. There's entertainment in the evening. The bar is here. People just naturally gather here for all the things happening. The cruise managers give their talks on the upcoming ports and things to do. So as I say, that's why we kind of call it the living room of the ship. Beautiful panoramic windows, and that's thus the name. So this is an area you'll spend quite a bit of time. And then, yes, the cocktail hour is nice. We do that every night, 1 hour before dinner. We have bottled water as well in your cabin in a carafe. And we also have these cartons of water. They're no longer plastic bottles, but more like smaller milk cartons of water, again, being friendly to Mother Earth. We also do wine, beer, and soft drinks during the meals at breakfast and at lunch, and the wine changes every night. So it varies according to places we're cruising, as you would imagine. And if you like last night's red wine more than tonight's, just ask for it. And again, we've already mentioned the cocktail hour. The dining is fantastic. And let's face it, here in Northern California, our palates, we're so spoiled, right? With all the wonderful fresh food that we have access to and the wines. That logo there, the Chaîne de Rôtisseurs, which in French means the goose cookers, that is a gastronomic organization that you can see. It's been around since 1248. It says to 1950. Nope, they're still around. And in order to be a member of Chaîne de Rôtisseurs, you have to be invited. You can't knock on their door and say, how do we join? They come to you because they've experienced what you do from a culinary standpoint and invite you. And so your food, your wine, and the service, so it's a triumvirate of things, have to be of the highest order in order to be invited to be members of Chaîne de Rôtisseurs. So all of our food is fresh and locally sourced. We say we have freezers on board, which is true. We have freezers strictly for ice cream. Everything else is fresh and locally sourced and tastes that way. We do very lavish breakfasts and lunches, multi-course dinners, and any kind of dietary restrictions, just let us know or let Lori know, and she lets us know. We let the ship know in advance. And then if you are just got to have a cheeseburger or got to have a margarita pizza, or, you know, the always available items are there too, because the food varies and it's wonderful, but sometimes you just get a hankering for a cheeseburger. So we have these always available items. The chef's table is quite wonderful too. It's a tasting menu. that is little tastes paired with wine, and everyone loves the chef's table experience, and we have it on all of our vessels. Very popular experience that people enjoy. And then we have these wonderful celebration of wine cruises, again, where guest winemakers come on and you do wine tastings both on the ship and off the ship. These are very popular. They're actually our highest rated cruises by our guests are the celebration of wine cruises, where we have guest winemakers on board. And we'll have around 70 of those next year that Lori can tell you about. And what can you expect? Again, the wine tastings on board, the wine themed shore excursions, and then a wine host, again, who's well-versed in the wines of the area, and you're gonna get a real education. So people love these, and we're well known for that. We do have high-speed wireless internet. We actually spend more on broadband than we do fuel. You heard me right. Rudy always likes to brag about that. We spend more on our broadband than we do fuel for the ship. So the internet is quite good. And then we have our own app, the My Ama Cruise app, that's real handy as well. The onboard entertainment, again, as I say, very colloquial, local, quaint entertainment, endemic to the area. There's a ship's musician that's on board as well. So there's always music in the evening for dancing, etc. Bring your swimming trunks, because we have a beautiful pool that's always heated. So even in the climate time or the shoulder season, November, December, or earlier in March, we heat the pools up. And so again, you can always jump in the pool. There's the little swim up bar there. People love that. And then we have full-time wellness instructors, certified wellness instructors on our ships. They're not, by the way, waiters at night, and they're wellness instructors during the day. All they are wellness instructors to enhance your best self, as it says there. And they do a variety of different classes, from yoga to cardio, to strength training, to stretching, dance, across the board. And these are very popular. So it's something that we delved into. And again, our guests are finding this quite attractive. So it's totally optional, but we do have those wellness instructors. And then we talk about exploring the world your way. And that is that we offer a whole host of excursions off the ship that you pick and choose. And you go at a pace that suits you, gentle, regular, or active. We also, if you don't want to get up early, have late risers, there's guided hikes, there's a fleet of onboard bicycles, there's usually around 25 bikes, they're the modified Dutch Flyers. We have special interest tours as well. By the way, on the bike trips, there's always a guide at the front and a guide at the rear, so you don't have to be worrying about going too fast or I'm the slowest rider. It doesn't matter, go at your own pace. That's a very popular thing to do, is the biking. But again, you pick and choose the pace you want to go, so it breaks up the ship's complement into smaller groups. Again, talking about innovation. This was Rudy Schreiner's dream, was to build this ship, the Ama Magna. And in Latin, the word magna means great. And Time Magazine last year named this ship one of the world's greatest places. This ship came out in May of last year, right? So she's now a little over a year old. And that's the difference. She's double wide, which sounds like a trailer park, but that's the name, is a double wide ship. Why? Well, because river ships are traditionally 36 feet wide. Why is that? Well, that's the width of the locks on the rivers, 36 feet width locks. However, there are a set of locks on the Danube River that are what? Double the width, 72 feet wide. So that's where this ship operates, is on the Danube. And interestingly enough, the ship to the left, that ship carries 190. The ship to the right, the Ama Magna, only carries 6 more guests at 196, and yet she's double the width, with multiple restaurants, multiple bars, huge workout facility, these spinning cycles back here where we started with 4, we're now up to 9, wonderful sun deck, just an incredible ship. The cool thing is the average stateroom is 355 square feet, including full balcony. And that is the size of the suites on our other ships. This is the size of a standard accommodation on the Ama Magna, which is quite remarkable. So the ship is sort of become the queen of the fleet. Really amazing vessel. And it's something to put on your, potentially put on your list of a ship you might want to try, say, for your first time river cruise. And then we treat our solo travelers very well. Do we charge double? No. Often it's only 125%, sometimes 150, and we look after our solo travelers such that it's a great way to travel as a solo traveler, to come along with AmaWaterways, and we offset the tables as well for dining, etc. So very nice features as it relates to solo travelers, particularly that we don't charge 175 or 200% to occupy a double occupancy cabin. Some of the new itineraries next year: Rhine castles and Swiss Alps. This is a traditional Rhine cruise that takes you through Cologne and down through the Alsace region, but it offers a 3-night pre or post-cruise stay in Lake Como, Italy, at the beautiful Hilton Hotel, very old hotel that's been remodeled, refurbished, quite unique. And so that's where I was talking about sometimes tweaking an itinerary that's offering unique pre or post hotel programs. We're going to stay in Holland and Belgium beyond tulip time. Traditionally, tulip time, when the tulips are in bloom, that's a very popular time for obvious reasons in Holland and Belgium. But this is an itinerary that you can go on past tulip time. Will take you to places like Antwerp and Brussels, here in Bruges, which is wonderful, the Kinderdijk area where all the windmills are. Again, a really cool itinerary. A new itinerary in France, which we're going to talk about in the next webinar. This is a one-way cruise between Paris and Le Havre, or Le Havre and Paris. But here we go again. We offer this 3-night pre or post cruise stay in Brittany at Saint-Malo here. And after the monastery in Saint-Malo, after the Eiffel Tower and the Palace of Versailles, is the 3rd most visited attraction, certainly in France. And then we're going to improve France even more and offer this essence of Burgundy and Provence. We've always done the Rhone here. Now next year we're adding in the Saône. So Burgundy, this area from Dijon to Lyon here, this area the French call the gastronomic valley of France. So the food, the wine, off the hook, as is the history, the places you'll visit. So new itinerary and quite unique. Plus you get to do 3 nights pre or post in the French-speaking part of Switzerland in Geneva, or 3 nights pre or post, you can do both, in Barcelona, Spain. So this is more about Egypt and the Nile, which starts next September. I've mentioned that a few times. And then we're January through June of 2022, we're there as well. You start with 3 nights at the Four Seasons Residence Hotel in Cairo, 7 nights on the Amadalia, and then finishing up with 1 night in Cairo. Here you have a chance to fly from Aswan down to Abu Simbel to see the temple at Abu Simbel. About 80% of our guests right now are pre-reserving that, which is what we recommend. So this is a new and unique itinerary. We offer Israel, Jordan, and Dubai pre or post land programs, right? And then, of course, the Rhine, the Main, the Moselle. We're going to look at some nice pictures here. Some of the places you go, like Cologne, Germany, and the incredible Gothic cathedral there that is an absolute must-see. A river that doesn't get a lot of attention, but the cruise managers will tell you is their favorite river is the Moselle. The oldest growing wine region in all of Europe is here on the Moselle River. Places like Hochheim in Germany on the Moselle, Würzburg as well on the Main. Going through the Wachau Valley, which Rick Steves, Mr. Europe, calls the Wachau Valley in Austria, that 22-mile stretch, either going east or westbound, the quintessential river cruise experience in all of Europe, right? And that's on the Danube in Austria. And you will visit places like Salzburg, which obviously the birthplace of Mozart, where Sound of Music was filmed. And then into Budapest, that looks almost Photoshopped, that picture, but that is the Parliament building in Budapest, which is phenomenal. We do cruises that begin or end here. Then into the lower Danube or Eastern Europe through the Iron Gates and visiting places in Romania, also in here, Brasov is where Dracula was from, and certainly Vlad the Impaler coming from this particular area. We do stays here. Back up to Holland and Belgium for the tulip time. Obviously evocative picture there. One of my favorite cities in Europe is Antwerp, Belgium. This beer hall you get to visit and try all the different Belgian beers, which are wonderful. Giverny for our art fans to go to Monet's gardens along the Seine, and to the World War II history buffs to the beaches at Normandy and visiting Utah and Omaha Beach. That's obviously quite an experience, and we do offer that as well. And then in Burgundy, visiting the wonderful countryside and home of family-owned vineyards that you get to visit. Lyon is the gastronomic capital of France. You spend time here as well, and the food, as I say, is amazing. Then you see where Van Gogh got his inspiration for his paintings in Provence, places like Arles and Avignon. The Pont du Gard, also in Provence. I wish there were people pictured there so you could see just how huge the Pont du Gard is. And then in Bordeaux, and Bordeaux is also a wonderful place to do a river cruise, quite wonderful. That's the ship, the Amacello, in Rouen in France, along the Seine, where Joan of Arc was actually martyred. Then Portugal, we're going to talk more about that in the future. Very popular, quite beautiful, very bucolic. You see the terraced wine regions here in Portugal. And then we go to Africa. We're going to switch out of Europe. This is the Zambezi Queen, only 28 guests, so it fills up very quickly. You do game drives on water and on land. The largest herd of African elephants is in this area, which is quite amazing. And then down to Southeast Asia for the Amadara, 126 guest cruise ship, a river ship on the Mekong, where you have programs that start in the north, Hanoi and Halong Bay, and finish in the south in Saigon, or vice versa. But you always have the opportunity here to visit Siem Reap for the ruins at Angkor Wat. There's also an optional add-on in Bangkok as well. Here is that stay you have in, yes, ethereal is a great word for Halong Bay, right? So very exotic, very popular. And of course, as I mentioned earlier, the chance to visit Siem Reap. We stay at the Sofitel Hotel, where you have the chance to spend 3 nights and explore the ruins of Angkor Wat. So here is the offer, if you will, for attendees of the webinar, which are you. And that is, we're offering 2-for-1 deals that are booked here by September 15th with Lori. And these are the departures. Taste of Bordeaux, April 1. So I say you won't be a fool to do the Taste of Bordeaux starting on April Fool's Day. Along the Danube River, April 11. Up into Belgium and the Netherlands, April 20 for tulip time. That's a great time for tulips. And then that new itinerary I just showed you, Rhine Castles and Swiss Alps, May the 9th, right? So these are all 2-for-1. There are some exclusions as far as categories, etc. Superb deal, right? So this is something that only Lori can book for you. And Lori, that's the promo code 2-for-1-VCN, which stands for Virtual Cruise Night. And so you have, and we only tout these on our webinars. So great offer. So the deal would be to book. To make a booking is a $400 deposit, and then final payment is at 90 days prior. We also have fly free next year on a whole bunch of departures where it's for 2 people or companion, or you can do business class. So fly free, again, Lori can tell you more about that. More popular indeed are those programs, and that's booking by the end of September. So this previous one, the 2-for-1s are booking by September 15th. The free air is by September 30. If you are past military, we'll also give you an additional $100 per person savings as well. And then we mentioned the fly free. We mentioned if you are saying, you know what, we're going to skip 21, we're going to stay around the United States, we'll take a look at 2022. If you book by September 30, again, a $400 per person deposit, we'll give you an additional 5% off. We mentioned military. We mentioned the Frontline Hero offer. There is an offer for Vietnam, and it's 2-for-1 on the land programs, right? And that starts August of next year through April of 22. So that's a 2-for-1 offer on doing the land portion of the Mekong, where you can go to Siem Reap and Hanoi and Ho Chi Minh City, etc. And then Lori is offering, this is more, any booking you make by September 17, any booking whatsoever, an additional 100 per person savings. That's again for coming to the webinar. And then I already mentioned the webinar attendee 2-for-1. Again, those are those 4 departure dates that are at 2-for-1. But if you want to book something else, there's plenty of other things that you can take a look at. These are, again, the upcoming webinars that I showed you earlier, September 16, the 29th, and then October 14th. 2 guest speakers, Liz Barrett for the celebration of wine cruises, and then Todd Ney for Africa. It'll just be me on September 16 for France and Portugal. Hopefully that's okay. And again, all 5 to 6 p.m. So thank you so much for listening to me for this last, 50 minutes now. And now we'll jump into, if you'd like, if I haven't bored you too much here, I'm going to turn on my webcam, come back. There I am. Hello. And let's see if we have any questions. All right. So Rick says he likes your longer hair, Lori. so thank you, Rick.
Thanks,
Yeah. And then Shelley has a number of comments. I love to travel. I'm with you there, Shelley. Ooh, the rivers of France and Portugal. Yeah, I'll tell you what. Rhine and Danube. Everybody thinks that. Well, that's the first place you go on a river cruise, but you cannot go wrong in Provence or in the Saône in Burgundy, or for that matter, Bordeaux or the Seine. So France is great, and then Portugal is on fire. Really wonderful destination. And those two ships, the AmaVita and the AmaDuro, only carry 102 guests, so they fill very quickly. So both of those places are really quite nice. The Nile is extremely exotic. And I think the reason the Nile is booking so well, it's a lot of our past guests who have been with Ama and want to try something new for sure. But also the fact that it's only 68 guests, again, very unique. We do the Four Seasons Hotel. We have pre and post in Israel, in Jordan, in Dubai. So it's just a really, and then that offer to go down to Abu Simbel on the flight from Aswan, which again is a really unique, cool thing to do. So a lot of this is part of the reason, I should say, why the Nile is so popular. And then, yeah, the Frontline Hero offer, we came out with that several months ago. Thanks, Shelley. And it just, it really hit a nerve. And that is giving the Frontline Heroes a comped cruise, complimentary cruise. Comped is the term we use in the business, but a complimentary cruise next year. So thank you for that comment. And yeah, if you know any Frontline Heroes, put them in touch with Lori, and she can give them further details and possibly even walk them through the application for the certificate on our website there. So, all right. So I think
I do want to say a couple things. I want to give a plug. I know that Brian talked a little bit about Essence of Burgundy and Provence, and that is going to be covered in our next webinar. But I want to remind you guys that we actually have a group scheduled on the Essence of Burgundy and Provence for April of 2021. And this is the fundraising cruise. I know I'm not supposed to use that word, but what I'm working with a local nonprofit organization, Museum on Main in Pleasanton. And we use travel as a way of raising donations for the museum. So we've got a group of people going. One of the people going on this trip is going to be the executive director of the museum, Jim Demersman. So be sure, and if that's an interest in, as Brian was saying, the gastronomical capital of France, and yeah, I signed up for that one and it is a wine tasting river cruise. So you've got a double whammy there. So you've got all the great food and all the great wine, and we're going to be sailing with a winemaker. Yep. And it's all for a good cause. So, be sure and join for the next webinar, and then let me know if you have any questions about the group that we're going with. And I did want to say something else about the food. I love to tell this story. The first time I took a river cruise, I've taken 5 river cruises on Ama, and yes, I absolutely love Ama. But the first time I took a river cruise, they have an omelet station, and I went down one morning, and keep in mind this was a Christmas market cruise, so it was a little bit chilly in December. And being from California, I just, casually mentioned I'd love spinach in my omelet. And they were so apologetic because they only had frozen spinach. Well, that day they had gone out to the market and they found fresh spinach for me. I don't know how they found fresh spinach in the middle of Germany in December, but I sat down to breakfast the next day, and the waiter came over and he said, "Miss McDonald, the chef went out and found you fresh spinach. Are you ready for your spinach omelet?" And that is right then and there, Ama owned my heart. I mean, that is how they get such high marks on their quality, their service, their repeat business. It's that type of dedication to their clients, they don't consider them clients, they don't consider them customers, they are really family. So that's one little story I have about why I love Ama.
Thank you. That's a great story, and I could tell anecdotal stories like that too. But in the interest of time, we'll save those. But that's a great story, and that does point to the surprises and the little things that happen that people think, wow, that is quite something. And so that's what we've built our reputation on over the last 18 years, and certainly would love to have you all come with us at some juncture next year on that museum cruise, which is going to be a blast. And the icing on the cake, like Lori mentions, there's a guest winemaker on board from Northern California. I'll mention it when I do my next webinar who that is, but it's a local, I believe it's a local Northern California winemaker.
Gerard. Yeah, we'll be sailing with Gerard.
Gerard, okay, cool. Yeah, and so what they do is they do 3 tastings, and then they do a paired winemaker dinner as well. And people just flip for the guest winemaker cruises, really love those, and those score really, really well. So yeah, that would be wonderful to go on that particular, and on a new itinerary, which incorporates Burgundy, right? And that whole area of Burgundy, which is fantastic. So it's just all the way around a wonderful opportunity for sure. So we'll talk about that on the 17th or whatever date that is we're doing. I think it's the 17th of September for sure. So, all right, let me just see if I have any other questions. No, that's it. All right, cool. So we're right at close to the top of the hour, and I think there's a glass of wine that's calling my name right now, actually. So
Me too.
all of us, let's hope, and let's all hope and pray for yes, the vaccines and all good stuff to be coming our way, so that we can get out there in this big, beautiful world and keep on going. Because our owner on Monday said, do you know that there is a study out that says when you actually have, and I alluded to this earlier, but when you actually have a trip on the calendar, it lifts your spirit, it truly lifts your spirits. And so I'll just leave you with that. And because honestly, it's something, part of travel is the anticipation. It's a big part of travel. So it'd be nice to have something to look forward to. So anyway, hopefully I see y'all on the 17th. And if not, then we'll certainly send you the recording, and I'll name names now again. So thank you to Judy, to Kristen, obviously Lori, Marcella, Rick, Shelley, and Sona for coming today. And again, hope to see you here in a few weeks. So for now, I'll say thank you so much. Thanks, Lori. Bye, everybody.
Thanks, Brian. Take care, everyone.
You bet. Stay
Bye.
well. Bye-bye.